So let's talk about what we talked about last time. So previously we talked about how AI would just, be one of those things that would destroy our society and shit, and how AI would forever change a lot of things in like negative ways when it comes to creativity and writing, stuff like that, especially when it comes to jobs, with robots taking over and such, and how AI just simply generates things, which is like a lot easier because people prefer things that are easier and smoother and simpler than like things that are like less complicated and things that require a lot of time and effort. Yeah, well, there are some things I was right and wrong about AI, and this is something I like to discuss. In terms of artificial intelligence, we already know that, it just simply generates things when it comes to artwork and writing, especially with overviews. Thanks, Google. Stuff like that. And basically everything when it comes to ChatGPT and like multiple apps that involve AI. And here's the thing, most businesses, especially businesses that are not corporate, are using AI for their business, saying that, oh, it's great, it's a lot easier. And all of a sudden, this whole AI bubble is about to burst very soon, which a lot of people predict that. And not to mention, George Lucas even mentioned that, oh, AI is the future and such. To be quite honest with you guys, I was right about AI being like one of the worst things in society. But in terms that it's not entirely bad when it comes to it, especially with like overviews and such, which here's what I was wrong about. I was wrong about it saying, oh, it's 100% bad and such. To be quite fair, AI really helps a lot when it comes to overviewing things and just simply generating things. It is really good at doing that. And now with most AI artwork, it's not being as recognizable as AI itself to where people can really tell that it's AI, especially when it comes to ChatGPT and like other things that people use nowadays when it comes to the workforce and the business strategy and the business practice, all those things you could think of. Yeah, and I do not like how every single workforce is forcing everybody that works in like a certain type of business, especially when it comes to media production, to use AI, especially when it comes to animation, CGI animation, any type of animation that's drawn on paper, stuff like that. And like when it comes to AI animation, it lacks a lot of creativity when it comes to those things, especially when you're AI generating a photo or a video. It just simply doesn't work when it comes to all that. And to be fair, I don't even know what to say more. Honestly, if I were to use AI, I would have to look into it a lot more and to see it. Now, I don't have to necessarily take AI classes because, I'm not really an expert in AI. And honestly, I've never been affiliated to AI except for a few things, and I most likely never will because honestly, I'm against it in a lot of ways because all it does is simply generate things, which I mean, it does help when it comes to business. Because here's the thing, when it comes to the workforce and being part of a business, they always have deadlines and they only give you a certain amount of time before you have to turn something in. Because with deadlines, what they tell you is that you have to manage things before a certain date that they want to get things done by. And yet they claim that it's one of the easiest things for them in order to make money and for them to have a lot of time and effort into things instead of running things over like what happened at the Super Bowl in 2019 with the SpongeBob animation. Because believe it or not, there was actually going to be a performance dedicating to the memory of Steven Hillenburg when he passed away with the song Sweet Victory. That was going to be part of the Super Bowl that year. And unfortunately, that never came to fruition because there were deadlines and they were too late on that. So, yeah, we all know what happened during that time. So, regarding the issue, I can definitely see why that they're trying to use AI and all that. Like, I can kind of see that. But at the same time, I don't think that using AI in every single project is like necessary, especially when it comes to merchandise. And unfortunately, Six Flags is like using AI slot on their merch almost all the time. And unfortunately, Kings Island, which is my home park, they're using that unfortunately, and I'm really pissed about it. And honestly, to my home park, what the hell were they even thinking? But hey, let's not get into that. But no, this also reminds me of the Volo Museum that now uses AI, and unfortunately, Aaron Fector, the creator of the Rockefeller Explosion, he and the Volo Museum, they are actually using AI for apparently some of their artwork that they have, which yeah, I can definitely tell. And to be quite honest, Aaron Fector did explain really well about why they use AI and why it's important to them when it comes to creations like these. So I can definitely see where he's coming from regarding that. And also when it comes to the differences between small projects and large projects to where they don't have to use AI and where they have to use AI, which I mean, I can kind of see that in that point. But to be quite fair, it's just I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, with AI, it's just a little bot that's everywhere that can do anything for you. I mean, I can kind of see that when it comes to that. People say, oh, it's good. But in reality, when you take a look at it, it's not. Because here's the main issue. What a lot of people don't see or realize is that there are some small details that people do not point out. Although some people do point out some of the small problems. And as a person on the spectrum, I can definitely see that. I can definitely see what they're talking about in terms of those things. And sometimes I don't always point out the small things, but sometimes I do when I look at them very well. I'm like, oh shit. I know a lot of girls are like that too, so that's something. I mean, I can kind of see that, and that's kind of understandable. And there is some AI shit that kind of looks okay, but not like as the best. But here's the thing also. What really grinds my gears is that corporations like to make excuses and pretend that, oh, well, I'm sorry, but we always have to use AI. It helps us make money, which I understand it, but to me, that's kind of corporate greed if you think about it. A lot of businesses, they like to cover things up as if they're being defensive about it. Like a lot of defense to where they use a lot of power in themselves and to use that to their employees, to the higher ups, to the shareholders, to their guests, customers, and even to those that are not guests, employees, or fans. But I don't know, it's just, it is what it is. And what really ticks me off is that one time I told my aunt about AI and how bad it is, and she says that, oh, I'm sorry, Byron, but if you don't use AI, you're gonna be left behind. Like, being left behind about what? The whole neurotypical bullshit? Or something like, I don't know. I'm like, am I gonna be left behind of this, what? Some sort of stupid trend online? I don't know. I mean, even if I don't use AI, I don't feel like I'm left behind because I have a feeling that I know something deep down in my thoughts, like right in the back of my head, that there's something going on that like barely anybody can admit. So this was actually launched a few months ago, and the college that I graduated from about like a year and a half ago, they are using this private artificial intelligence program called Bearcat GPT, which apparently it's similar to ChatGPT, but like in a UC style, which you can tell I'm like, what have they done to my Bearcat? Like, my God. And okay, I guess and I commented on one of the posts where I talk about how AI is bad and oh, this does not look good in terms of AI and such and how it's gonna fuck up our world and everything. And I'm like, and apparently someone that has been working with Bearcat GPT has mentioned to me that's not true, which I couldn't find the response that she replied to me, but she explained to me about how Bearcat GPT can help with like a bunch of students that are like, doing reviews and just making things like simpler without even cheating and such, which I mean, she did brought up a good point. And here's the thing about AI also, it depends on how you use it. It depends on how you use it for work and how you use it for fun or how you use it for anything like with any type of tutorials or anything with like sources and anything because some of those can help you with all kinds of great sources and such, but not all of them to be quite honest. So it's a 50-50. Here's what really ticks me off. People say that, oh, every single thing about our future is going to help us and such, which most of them have. But when it comes to stuff like AI, the more you look into it and the deeper that you understand it, especially from your perspective and how you experience it and how you've heard it from others, even as an adult, the more you recognize it as a future reference and as something that is literally considered a new normal. Which, speaking of new normal, y'all know how people tell you that, oh, after COVID, things are not going to be the same anymore, which unfortunately, it's the reality of it. And in terms of AI, it's like with the world using it even after I've gotten out of school and college. Because here's the thing, and this is something that most of you need to understand. When we were in school and even in college, AI was just barely a thing. And like we were not required to use anything related to AI in terms of, well, sure, we had things like GoAnimate and the text to speech voices and like things like Overview and like, the internet and things like phones and iPads and all those things, even laptops and computers. But in this day and age, it's just completely different compared to how we grew up in like different generations. Now, here's the thing about this. At the end of the day, sometimes AI can be a really helpful tool for like sources and such. However, though, at the same time, AI is not something that we would use for any type of creation, especially in our future. The artificial intelligence itself that we all know, it literally destroys the creativity that we put in when it comes to the media and the artwork and everything. But with writing and overviews, those all depend. I mean, when it comes to changing grades and all, I mean, honestly, I think it's one way of cheating, but not everything when it comes to that. And like in terms of like art, I'm like people can really tell what's AI if they recognize it very well, and most people cannot tell if they're not familiar with AI. And it's also bad because AI has literally led people to unaliving themselves, which unfortunately I've mentioned this before. And this literally happened to a teenage boy that actually fell for it. It's devastating, but what I'm telling you is the truth. May that 14-year-old boy rest in peace. And despite all of this, especially with people giving others backlash about their opinions on AI and like their perspectives when it comes to it, I mean, you can honestly hear them out, but when it comes to things like this, it's like, I just wish that they could understand from our perspective as well when it comes to AI, because it's not looking good in terms of like our future, our society, our future of the business, stuff like that. This is some serious stuff that I want to talk about and just roast AI when it comes to this because I don't even know what to say, man. I mean, if I want to use AI, that's my choice. But if I don't want to use it, that's also my choice. Because in terms of media, we have a choice to use AI or not to use AI. And that's a human right. Well, at least it should be. Because what if somebody out there is against AI? And what if somebody does not want to use it, even if they used it before or not? Like, what the fuck? Oh, and let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. So recently, I stumbled upon a post on Facebook where they ask you this: would you support an AI movie? A like means yes, and a love means no. And apparently, when I shared that post, only a small portion of people gave a heart response and not the like response. And people barely gave either a like or a heart type of shape. I'm like, what's going on? Why are we not even speaking up? Because like, do you guys really support an AI movie? Because I wouldn't. And if you do, it's like, what the hell? I mean, have you not seen 2D animation, 3D animation, or even CGI animation growing up? Have you not spotted those differences? And have you not even spotted differences between AI and CGI all those years? Come on. But yeah, that is all I got to talk about when I'm running around about it. And I know it's just a bunch of stuff to throw off, but I just want to get it off my chest. But hey, thanks again, guys, for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next bit. Until then, this is me, Byron, aka Triple B, the Wise Man, signing off. Peace out.